I'm at Tabor Cemetery, 5.5 miles southeast of Howells, Nebraska, in Colfax County. This cemetery was the site of a Bohemian Catholic church. In May 1870, a group of Czech families in 2 covered wagons left Omaha to homestead on Maple Creek, 5.5 miles southwest of where the village of Howells would later be established. They called their settlement Tabor. The gates of the current cemetery reads Osada Tabor, which in Czech means settlement camp. It was named after the district in Bohemia from which many of the settlers had emigrated. Tabor is also a reference to Mount Tabor, the place where Jesus showed forth his glory at the Transfiguration. The first religious services celebrated in this new settlement were at the sod house of Joseph F. Sindelar in 1871. Gathering on Sundays and holy days, one such service, assumingly in absence of a priest, was described in the following way. They came from far and wide, so that by 10 o'clock a goodly crowd had gathered. At 10:30, when the bell hung in the window frame had been rung by Joe, they entered for worship. The altar was a plain wooden cross. After a song by the congregation, one of the older men conducted Mass, which was sung, and another read from the Scriptures. This was followed by a sermon. Joseph Kryacek used to be the bell ringer in Bohemia and had received from a priest 2 old books containing sermons, which were very useful in this emergency. For the first few years, the settlement was visited on occasion by the German priest Father Frederick Ewing out of St. Anthony's Parish in St. Charles in Cumming County. He said Mass at the home of Joseph Sindelar. In 1874, a public school was built and services were then held there for a time. When Holy Trinity at Hine was built 8 miles west in 1878, those living closer to there joined that congregation, delaying the building of a church here at Tabor, for they did not yet have the financial means to do so. When the Bohemian priest Father John Blaschke came to Olean in 1877, he encouraged the Catholics here at Tabor to complete a church. Land was donated for both the church and cemetery. During the construction of the church, a violent windstorm scattered the framework all over the nearby fields. But the persistent parishioners retrieved the pieces and began again until they had completed their house of worship. The new church was dedicated September 8, 1880, on the feast of the Nativity of Mary. Thus, the full name of the church was the Nativity of the Blessed Virgin Mary, but more commonly simply called St. Mary's. One story I found gives a glimpse into the devotional life of the parish prior to 1926. From this church used to issue the first processions of pilgrims, after the fashion of the old country, to Hine and Olean. The young girls dressed in white came first, carrying the statue of the Virgin on a lighted pedestal. Then came Frank Vondruska's band. Then the choir with its leaders, and the remainder of the participants followed. The procession walked about half a mile and then got into wagons and proceeded further. St. Mary's continued to be a mission of Sacred Heart in Olean until 1890, when it became a mission of Holy Trinity at Hine. In 1950, the original church building was remodeled and a full basement was built for meetings, receptions, and dinners. The parish remained a mission of Holy Trinity Hine pretty much the remainder of its 125 years of existence. In In 2002, Hine began to share priest with the two parishes in Howells, St. John Nepomucene and Saints Peter and Paul. St. Mary's here at Tabor was set to be closed. The final Mass here at St. Mary's was their 125th anniversary Mass on September 11th, 2005. A sale of the church's contents was held 2 months later. The cross and bell from the church were kept and were incorporated into the bell tower here at the cemetery. At the base of the bell tower is also the 1952 cornerstone from when the church was remodeled. The church itself remained standing for a few more years until it was taken down in 2011.